out here on the Neusiok Trail again. We tried this last year. Honestly, this seems like a pretty terrible idea. I think we're going to be a lot more miserable than we want to be. It's a little bit wet out. The water is like 3 to 4 inches deep. That is not the case today, fortunately. It's foggy right now. There's a little bit of condensation falling out of the air, but right now the forecast is as the day progresses, this fog should burn off. The temperature should be in the low 70s, and we should have sunny skies by the time we get to the mid-afternoon and beyond. So ideally today will shape up a lot better than a year ago. Got 6 of us total, starting our 21.1 mile jaunt through the Croatan National Forest. Should be a good day for this. Onto part of more of a road, a fire route, perhaps. I forget the route number off the top of my head. But we're about to cut right back into the woods. The name Neusiok was originally prescribed, I believe, by members of the Amadis Barlow expedition that was in 1584, I think. And I think that's what they had understood these peoples to be called. Around 1600 or so, there were perhaps 1,000 of the Neusiok or Neusiok remaining. But by 1709, I think they were down to 15 warriors total. The thought is that most of them must have merged with the Tuscarora tribe, the Socotan tribe, or the Roanoke. They were at constant war with the Neusiok back in the day. One of the Socotan Werowances, I guess that's a term for a tribal elder, I may not be pronouncing that correctly. His name was Wingina, and I may not be pronouncing that correctly either. But he recounted a story of a time when, well, the Socotan were trying to find terms to a permanent coexistence between the two tribes. And so the Neusiok invited them to a dinner where they would bring their families and they would work out the details. But once the Socotan arrived at that location, at the time and place, the Neusiok did not, well, they left women and children, and that's about it. So that did not go so well for the Socotan at the time. That's also where the Neuse River gets its name from. Again, we'll hit that in a little bit. We'll parallel that coastline for a brief ways before we cut back into the woods again, but we're not there quite yet. So through the trees here, you can see part of the Neuse part because it's still mostly fog. And there's Alan enjoying some Skittles. So yeah, a bit of a drop between here and the coast. And again, all you really see is fog through here. Spanish moss hanging off some of those trees in the distance. Not sure if they're picking up through the fog and the compression of the camera range, but nice sight. We're off just a little spur from the trail here, and again, the fog is maybe making it a little bit difficult to see the horizon. Over here we've got a hitching rail. This trail is a bridle trail, so there's plenty of signs of horse presence, we'll say. So clearly people have had a fire pit here, there's a picnic table, and that is one of the nice things about the entirety of this trail, with few exceptions. you can camp anywhere you find a suitable spot. Now obviously you'd want to be judicious about where you chose to camp and what you chose to leave behind, just to make sure you didn't overtax the land. But that is a nice perk of being able to hike through this forest and take the time to really enjoy it as necessary. So yeah, here we are down on the shore. Very gloomy looking, but it's still really cool. You know, that trail that we came down is a much easier way than trying to lunge off of that cliff where we were at earlier. Yeah, there's a little bit of wind out here too. Not bad. It's pretty nice. But yeah, you got some cypress knobs, you know, probably scattered throughout. And there's obviously, you're going to see those more in the swamps and the pocosins inland a little bit. So this is pretty nice. We got a little bit of a cove in here. Hey there. Doing all right? About yourselves? Yeah, here's signage for the Neusiok Trail again. So just took this little jaunt along the shore here, and we'll just cut right back up here. And that may be what this marker's for, just to make sure nobody misses the sign. It looks like it's been there though, but it's not anchored to anything, so it may just be washed up from the river. Not entirely sure. Up to the right here, through the trees, you can see some of the river now that some of the fog has lifted. So I'll walk down this little bit of trail here. Well, I guess that was not the wisest because now you can't see through it. So raise this up. So we reached Copperhead Landing, one of the 3 established shelters on this trail. And the other guys were waiting for us. I was taking my time getting some footage and whatnot. So we're just gonna head right out, get back on the trail, stop in a couple of miles for lunch, and then keep going. So we've come out to NC 306, it's that road behind me here, and we're just looking for a place to eat lunch. Probably try to eat pretty quickly and then get back on the trail. There is a parking area across the road. Looks like it might be a little more shaded, but probably just as many facilities, which is none. It says Propel.
It lived up to its name.
All right, we just finished lunch. We're back on the trail. Originally, we were told that this was 21.1 miles, but given some oddities in the signage, that may or may not be true. So we're just gonna keep hiking until we're done, until we get back to the parking area where we dropped one of the cars earlier. Then we'll have to shuttle back to get my truck and go from there. Coming up on NC 101. Trail crosses right here, re-enters the wood. So far, seems like most of what the last stretch we were on is a lot of boardwalks, raised boardwalks. Some more solid than others, but still nice to get you up out of the mud and out of the muck. Yeah, 101's a little bit busier than some of those fire roads we passed. Some of what we're walking through right now is just similar pines to what we started out in this morning. But now with the fog burned off, you get a good look at the sky beyond them. And as I've mentioned in several other videos, you know, you do have that kind of Christmas tree scent in the air, which is, you know, one of my favorites. It's warmed up quite a bit today. I don't know what the temperature is right now. I think it was supposed to be in the 70s, and it certainly feels that. Some of the leaf litter on the forest floor in this section of the trail, it feels very different from the mostly pine needles that were what we'd been mostly walking through up until now. Now it's more just deciduous leaves. Gives the forest kind of a different atmosphere. Most of, or all of Croatan National Forest is within what I remember correctly, which maybe I don't, is called the Middle Atlantic Coastal Eco-Region. And I mean, that goes up and down from here. It's not limited to just this area. But so it would seem then that ecoregion includes various types of forest within the larger scheme of an ecoregion. I think the first number I remember seeing on posts like this was 20, and they seem to be counting down. So the thought is that as it gets towards 0, we'll get closer to Oyster Point, which is where we're ultimately headed. So if this is correct, then we've got another 11 miles to go, and at least the numbers are getting smaller and not larger. One thing that's kind of unfortunate is that even though this region is home to several different carnivorous plants like Venus flytrap, sundew, and pitcher plants, I don't think that we'll actually see any of those or run across any of those on this trail, which is kind of too bad. Those are pretty cool to see. Another thing is, even though this area is home to American alligator and American black bear, it's extremely unlikely that we'll see either of those either. Alright, so we've got about 8-point-something miles to go before we're done, assuming that these 8.7, if I can read that correctly, assuming that these mile markers are in fact what we're following. I am the slow guy on this trip, but that's all right. It's been a good day for it, though. It's a little warm now, if anything, but there's breeze out here. Feels good. There's been whispers of stopping for milkshakes afterwards, so I like the sound of that. For the second time in as many years, the Neusiok Trail has defeated me. We've got about a little less than 4 miles to go. We've done over 20, so even though it says 21.1, that's not entirely true, apparently. I could make it, but it would take longer than it should, and out of a party of 6 of us, 4 went ahead to get the vehicles. One of the other guys, Blair, was kind enough to stay with me, so if something happened that I wouldn't be by myself, so I really appreciate that. You know, I could feel the moment when everything down there in my boot just went wrong. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine in the long run, but yeah, it's probably gonna be a while before that heals up. All of that said, I mean, this was a good day, good time to hang out with some of the guys. I am grateful for the opportunity to get out here and give it a shot, even if I didn't quite finish the trail this time. But there are other trails, and there will be other opportunities, so I'll just look forward to those. Anyway, that being said, appreciate you following us as we took the Neusiok Trail, or at least most of it in my case. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you the next time out. Till then, take care.